He heard her before he saw her. That laugh. 42 floors up. Board meeting in progress. $300 million on the table. And Marcus Kai stopped hearing any of it, because on the sidewalk below, a woman was looking up at his billboard and laughing. Not politely. Not briefly. A real laugh. Head tilting back. Hand over her mouth. Like she couldn't help it. 7 years. $3 billion. Magazine covers. And she was laughing at his face like it was the funniest thing she'd seen all week. He should have looked away. He didn't. He picked up his phone. Texted his assistant one line. The woman in the red coat. Corner of 5th and 48th. Find out who she is. He sat back down and heard nothing else for the rest of the meeting. His assistant delivered a file by end of day. Nora Ellis, 29, freelance graphic designer. Marcus read it once, set it down, picked it up again, read it differently the second time. Not as reconnaissance, as curiosity. She ate at the deli on 48th every Tuesday and Thursday, walked the same route back, past his billboard, every time. He went back to his window Thursday at 12:47 p.m. She appeared, red coat, dark hair, looked up at his billboard this time without laughing, just tilted her head, private smile, like she had a joke she was keeping for herself. He watched her for 4 minutes, told himself it was research. That was the first lie he told himself about Nora Ellis. It would not be the last. What Marcus didn't know, what he wouldn't know for weeks, was that the same morning he'd requested that file, someone else had already been watching Nora Ellis, for entirely different reasons. The following Tuesday, Marcus went outside. No driver, no security, just him, on the sidewalk. He bought coffee from a cart, stood near the deli, felt conspicuous, reminded himself, Manhattan, anyone can be anyone here. At 12:51 she appeared, moving through the crowd with that quality some people haven't hurried but certain. She looked up at the billboard. The smile started. She took a photo, typed something, laughed at her own message. He was 10 feet away. She had no idea. He crossed to her. Excuse me? She turned. No recognition. Just open attention. What's funny about it? Sorry. The billboard. I've seen you laugh at it twice. She looked at the billboard. Back at him. At the billboard. You've seen me twice. I work in that building. Oh, she considered. Can I be honest? Please. He looks like he's never had a bad day. Like joy is something that happens to other people, and he's made his peace with that. She tilted her head. It's trying so hard to be impressive that it forgot to be a person. He was quiet. What would a person look like? She looked at him properly then, frowned slightly, looked at the billboard, back at him. Oh, she said quietly, not embarrassed. Arriving somewhere. That's you. I just told you your billboard forgot to be human. To your face. You did. Don't apologize. You're not wrong. She stared at him. You're agreeing? It was shot in a controlled studio. Specific expression. Specific message. Apparently it worked too well. She surprised herself by smiling. That's a very self-aware thing to say. I'm practicing. I don't do it enough, apparently. Who told you that? My mother. Regularly. She laughed. That laugh. Closed this time. Warm in a way that hit differently than he'd expected from 40 floors. I'm Nora. Marcus. You look better in person. Because I look human. Because you're actually here. The billboard is a decision. You're a person. He couldn't remember the last time someone had said something that simple and meant all of it. Coffee, he said. There's a place 2 blocks over. You clearly know this neighborhood better than I do. You work here and you don't know this neighborhood. I eat at my desk. That's sad. I'm beginning to think several things about my life are sad. They walked. Naturally. Like they'd been doing this for years. At the coffee shop she asked about the billboard, not Kai Industries. Not the company. About the decision behind the image. What were you trying to say? Strength. Certainty. Vision. And what were you not trying to say? He thought about it honestly. Anything that could be questioned. She wrapped her hands around her cup. That's the problem. Certainty without question isn't strength. It's just armor. He looked at her. This woman he'd met 40 minutes ago, who was saying things his closest advisors had never said, and thought, why does this feel like a conversation I've been waiting to have for years? That evening, Marcus's phone rang. Victor Crane, his largest shareholder, his most persistent problem. I hear you left the building at lunch. Marcus paused. I wasn't aware I needed your approval for lunch. You don't. But the board does take note when you're distracted. During the Meridian discussion, I wasn't distracted. You missed 12 minutes. Chen covered. A pause. I'm concerned, Marcus. Kai is at an inflection point. This is when leaders either consolidate or lose control. I haven't lost anything. Not yet. Crane's voice was smooth. I just want to make sure your attention is where it needs to be, not on distractions. The line went dead. Marcus sat in his office, looked at the city, thought about a laugh on a sidewalk, thought about Crane's surveillance of his lunch break, and felt, for the first time, that these two things were on a collision course. He didn't know yet that Victor Crane already knew Nora Ellis's name, or that Crane had been the one to approach her 3 weeks earlier with a job offer she hadn't yet accepted. Thursday dinner, small restaurant in the West Village, her choice, real food, Tromains. She wore something simple. Lee left the tie at home. They talked for 3 hours. About her grandmother who'd taught her that design was honesty with shape. About his father who'd built the original version of Kai and never quite forgiven Marcus for making it unrecognizable. He thinks I lost the original idea, Marcus said. Did you? I think I built what he imagined, but forgot why he imagined it. Can you find it again? I'm starting to think I've been looking in the wrong direction. He looked at her. Up. At results. At what I built, instead of around. It's what's actually there. She looked at him. You know what I think. Tell me. I think you came outside on Tuesday not because you wanted to know what was funny, but because you needed to remember what it felt like to be seen as a person. And what does that feel like? Right now. She smiled. Like this. He reached across the table, touched her hand. Not a gesture, not a move, just contact. Real and warm and completely unplanned. She didn't pull away. They sat like that for a moment, both feeling it, both quiet about it. Then her phone lit up on the table. She glanced down. Her expression shifted, almost invisible. But he saw it. A name on the screen. Crane Associates. She silenced it quickly, looked up, said nothing, and he said nothing either. A tree. But something had changed in the air between them. Something careful had entered the room. Marcus went back to James the next morning. The file on Nora Ellis. Did anything else come through? James was quiet a half-second too long. James. There was a secondary flag. He set a folder on the desk. 3 weeks ago, Crane Associates approached her. Treelance contract. Tree branding consultation. Marcus opened the folder. The client they wanted her to rebrand was Kai Industries. A counter-narrative campaign, making the company look unstable. Leadership in crisis. James paused. Standard hostile acquisition positioning. She didn't take it. Correct. She declined within 48 hours. Before she ever saw my face. Before she ever saw your billboard. Marcus sat with that. She had no idea who I was when she declined. Correct? He closed the folder, sat back, thought about a woman who'd laughed at a billboard, called him out on a sidewalk, who'd silenced a call from Crane Associates at dinner and said nothing about it. She'd protected something without knowing what she was protecting, or she knew exactly, and he didn't know which. He could pull back, protect the company, treat her like a variable in someone else's plan, or he could trust what he'd seen across that dinner table. The problem was, Marcus Kai had spent 4 years trusting numbers over instincts, and his instincts were the only thing telling him she was real. He went quiet for a week, canceled nothing, said nothing, just withdrew into professionalism, the way he always had. The armor that had served him well. Nora noticed by day 4. Texted once. Are you okay? He read it. Didn't respond. She texted again day 6. You don't have to explain, but at least be honest. Was any of it real? He read it, put his phone down, picked it up, called her. Yes. Yes, what? Yes, it was real. All of it. A pause. Then why? Because Crane Associates approached you 3 weeks ago to run a counter-narrative on Kai. Silence. You had me investigated. Before I knew you. Yes. And then you met me anyway. And you didn't tell me? No. And then you found out I'd been approached by Crane, and you still didn't say anything. You just withdrew. I didn't know what to believe. You could have asked me. Her voice was quiet. Kay, not angry. Harder than anger. You had every resource in the world. Kay, you used them. Okay. And then you couldn't just ask me. I'm asking you now. That's not the same thing. I know. The silence stretched. I turned down Crane before I ever saw your face, she said. Because the work they wanted was dishonest. It wasn't about you. Why, I didn't know you existed. I know that. Do you? Because you went quiet for a week, Marcus. And I kept asking myself what I'd done wrong, and it turns out you just decided to manage me instead of talk to me. He closed his eyes. You're right. The Billboard. Her voice softened, slightly not forgiving, but honest. That's the same problem, isn't it? Managing the image instead of being in it. He didn't answer. Because she was right. And she already knew it. I need some time, she said, and hung up. And Marcus sat in his $8 million office and thought, I have built everything I set out to build. And I have never felt this empty. Victor Crane moved the following Monday, called an emergency board session. Marcus's leadership has shown instability. Missed meeting segments. Distracted decision-making. I'm proposing a vote of confidence. Marcus sat at the head of the table, looked at faces he'd known for years. Some looking away. You want to use a lunch break to stage an acquisition play, Marcus said. Let's be accurate about what this is. I want to ensure KI's future. You want Kai's future for yourself. You've wanted it for 2 years. Marcus opened a folder, set it on the table. These are Crane Associates' communications with 3 separate contractors over the last 6 months. All positioning Kai as a leadership in crisis narrative, all timed to this quarter. He looked at Crane. You've built the instability. Then pointed at it. The room was very quiet. I missed 12 minutes of one meeting. That's not instability. That's human. He looked around the table. If that disqualifies me, then I've been running this company wrong for 4 years. Because I've been performing in vulnerability instead of building trust. He closed the folder. Vote if you want. I'm not going anywhere. Crane looked at the table. No one moved. The vote didn't happen. Crane left. Tia stood at the window afterward and thought, I just offended myself by being honest. Nora would have said, that's all it ever was. He picked up his phone. He found her on the corner of 5th and 48th. Not by accident. He'd texted, same corner, 12:47. If you're willing. She was there, looking up at the billboard. Not laughing, not smiling, just looking. I should have asked you, he said. No preamble. Instead of managing the situation from a distance, to you exactly what I do with everything. Gathered information instead of having a conversation. She didn't turn around. You were protecting the company. I was protecting myself. Now she turned. Yes, there is. I told the board I'd been running things wrong for 4 years, that I'd been performing in vulnerability instead of building trust. He paused. I learned that from you. Okay? In approximately 4 conversations. You didn't learn it from me. You already knew it. You just needed someone to say it without wanting something in return. I want something in return. What? Another chance. Not managed. Not investigated. Advestrial. She looked at him. This man who'd had her looked up before he'd said hello. Who'd withdrawn instead of asked. Who'd been honest about both. The billboard thing, she said. What about it? You defended yourself in that board meeting by being honest. Yes. How did that feel? He thought about it. Like the first thing I've done in 4 years that actually looked like me. She was quiet. Then, there's a place on 47th. Better coffee than the place 2 blocks over. I've been meaning to try it. Is that a yes? That's a coffee invitation. She started walking, glanced back. Keep up. He smiled, followed her. Behind them, 40 feet tall, his face looked down at the corner. Same billboard, same expression, a T, but something had shifted. Because the man in the photo and the man on the sidewalk were starting slowly, honestly, to look like the same person. The new billboard went up on a Wednesday. Different photo, different everything. Marcus, Southside, natural light, mid-thought, almost smiling at something off camera. A person, not a projection. Nora found out from a text. New billboard, same corner. Tell me what you see. She walked her usual route, looked up, stood very still. She didn't laugh, didn't smile, the private smile. Just looked. The way you look at something that finally matches what you knew was inside it. Typed back, I see you. The actual you. His reply, that's because of you. Also, I'm at the deli. The menu is still too long. She laughed, walked to the deli, found him at a corner table. Menu open, genuinely lost. There are 14 options. Chicken sandwich. What if? You'll like it, trust me. He looked at her. I'm working on that. I know. She sat across from him. You're getting better at it. Outside, the new billboard caught the afternoon light. A man mid-thought, almost smiling. Not impressive. Real. Which, it turned out, was the most impressive thing of all.